Hello and welcome to Caravan Magazine's Tour de Yorkshire. This year the Tour de France starts in Yorkshire. First two stages going throughout the Dales and then down into West Yorkshire. And we're going to follow the route for the first 2 days in our lovely Lunar Quasar caravan and with our SsangYong Rexton W tow car.
All courtesy of Leisure World, who have branches at Tyneside, Catterick and here at York.
So this is the SsangYong Rexton W. It's new for 2014, comes with a new all-Korean engine, a 2-litre diesel. It's got plenty of pull and it's linked to a Mercedes automatic gearbox, which is absolutely fantastic for towing. Curb weight is 2,128 kilos, so that's a lot. You can pull pretty big caravans and almost up to 2 tons with that, so it will suit a lot of twin-axle tourers. It's spacious, it's comfortable, it's economical and it tows brilliantly. Why not?
The 101st Tour de France starts in Leeds at the Hedgerow and goes past the 19th century town hall and heads north out of the city towards Harewood House near Wetherby. Harewood House is one of England's finest 18th century treasure houses, set in 100 acres of amazing parkland. During the race they're going to have a fantastic cycling festival which will really be worth visiting. From Harewood House we carried on through the towns of Otley and Ilkley along the valley bottom. The views here are fantastic and the crowds are going to be enormous on the day, so make sure you get your spot early as the local councils are planning to close the roads for up to 4 hours around the race. The route heads north from Skipton to Thresfield and this is where things start to get more dramatic. The road gets twistier and it begins to get hilly as you head towards Kilnsey Crag.
Here on race day you'll find a festival of cycling called VeloFest. There's also around 3,000 pitches, so you can park up and camp for the night before watching the race.
The race will be at Kilnsey from about 1:15 onwards and then carry on heading north towards Kettlewell and on to Buckden, and here's where it gets really dramatic.
Kilnsey Crag. It's quite hard holding this like this for a long time. That's what she said.
Kilnsey Crag will make a fantastic backdrop to the race, so make sure you take your camera along. But be aware the roads are very narrow here and the crowds will probably be pouring onto the tarmac, so take care.
After a bit of a descent down from the hills we come to Kettlewell, and it's a really beautiful area where you're basically in the valley between 2 rivers, the River Wharfe and the Kettlewell Beck.
This is just north of Kettlewell on the B6160.
The route carries on from Kilnsey through Kettlewell and onto a village called Buckden. Now the views begin to get really dramatic here as you head upwards into the hills. Just outside Buckden there's a fantastic, large lay-by with a picnic area. There's a National Trust walk and the scenery around here is just sensational, so make sure you take the time to have a look around this area.
Across the car park you get towards Upper Wharfedale, where there's a whole expanse of land on a big hill where it'll be ideal for watching the race from.
shortly after Buckden, the road starts to rise towards the Kidstones Pass. You'll see a fantastic waterfall on the left hand side. Viewing might be a bit tricky here, and certainly parking will be impossible, but if you can sit back on the hillside overlooking the road, you should get some great views. You'll also find the White Lion Inn here, where I dare say you'll be able to grab a pint and perhaps lunch, but you may need to ring ahead to book as it's bound to be fantastically busy.
Kidstones Pass is where the route starts to get really interesting, and it'll provide some fantastic backdrops for incredible photos. The race will pass through here at about shortly after 1:30, so make sure you get there early so you can find a spot alongside the route.
We trekked across the top of the hills and then headed down towards Aysgarth, which is famous for its waterfall, so well worth an afternoon here. From Aysgarth we headed on to Hawes, which is a very picturesque village, full of boutique shops, and you'll be able to pick up food and provisions there too.
As we leave Hawes and head up to the Buckden Pass, the incline gets quite steep, but our Sangyong tow car didn't have any trouble getting up there at all.
So we're on top of the Northern Dales now. We're about, I reckon, 200 metres above Hawes on the way to Muka, and the climb we've just come up was no problem for the Sangyong, but I wouldn't like to do it on a bicycle. There's still snow on the Dales at the moment, but come June hopefully the weather will be much better and this will be a fantastic spot for watching the race.
From Buttertubs the race heads down to Muka, Gunnerside, Strands and then on to Reeth. We're running low on loo chemicals, so it's time to take a detour to Catterick Caravans, who are based just off the A1 at Catterick. It takes us about half an hour off the route to get there, but we find one of Britain's best and biggest dealerships with fantastic shops, a cafe, huge selection of used and new vans. They've got great Wi-Fi too. After having a great coffee and stocking up on chemicals, we head back to the race route and rejoin it at Leyburn. From here we head down to Midlam and then Massam, which of course is famous for its beer. From there it heads on to West Tanfield, through Ripon and eventually gets to Ripley Castle.
Ripley's most impressive feature is the castle and grounds. Steeped in more than 700 years of history, it's going to be an ideal spot to visit on the route.
In the spirit of the Tour de France, Ben and I are carrying two bikes with us, lent to us very kindly by Halford, so we head off around Harrogate at this point for a quick cycle ride.
After we were done with the Apollo bikes, we came to the end of the route in Harrogate. That's the end of day one, so we head out to Riverside Campsite.
The campsite's actually at Connolly, just outside Skipton, and has fantastic views all around. The owners also tell us that they're not going to put the prices up for the race, so it might be a great place to book. It didn't take long to get the caravan pitched, and we were soon cooking our belated breakfast, or as it's known in Yorkshire, dinner, which was tasty local sausage and bacon. The kitchen in the Quasar is fantastic, so we made quick work of that before heading to the pub.
That's the end of day one, it's time to hit the sack.
But don't forget to look out next month for part 2 and day 2 of the amazing Tour de France in Yorkshire.